Hi and welcome to Whitetail Edge. On this week's show, you're going to be joining my good friend, Sean Gaul.
Let me take my Hoyt and get on with it.
As he takes down a monster Ohio whitetail early season.
He came from the opposite way of every other deer, but man, that deer just blew my mind trying to wait for him and wait for him and wait for him and wait for him, so.
Was this deer taken during the archery season?
How can anybody do this, man?
For archery, press 1. For gun, press 2.
Welcome to Season 2 of Whitetail Edge.
What type of bow was used?
We killed 11 bucks, averaging 161 inches across the board.
For a buck with antlers, press 1.
We hope you enjoy it.
Whitetail Edge is presented by Black Widow Deer Lures.
We're on a new farm and really just trying to scout this place out, but I just want to show you a tip of where I use some of my Upwind odor eliminator. When I put cameras up like this in a new spot like this, and then I've got this is a fairly new camera with new straps and stuff, and you know, them deer, they're always going to know you've been around, but you kind of try to want to make it as less, you know, intrusive as you can. So I always try to take some of this and I'll spray these straps. I'll spray the sides of the camera where I touched it, because they're going to see it and they're going to know it's different. Eventually they're going to get used to it, but you know, he'll walk up here and smell that thing and it won't be so alarming to him. He's going to know something's different. He's going to smell it when we walked here. But I run a lot of my trail cameras on the edges. This Upwind stuff is great stuff. That's just a good tip, you know, another use for it other than on your clothes and hunting. So Sean is one of my good friends. He's been hunting with my outfitting business, Wicked Ridge Outfitters, for a couple years. We've become really close buddies, you know, and Sean's just a die-hard hunter. I mean, he really is. The kid lives and breathes whitetails. He's a horseshoer, you know, farrier for a living, works his butt off all summer.
Ben sucks.
And he's always giving me a hard time because, you know, I pick on him, he picks on me. You know, the first year he ever hunted here, he had a chance at a really big buck. It just didn't happen. You know, he didn't get the deer killed, and, you know, he's been heartbroken ever since. And we've been on some good deer in between, but just never closed the deal. Well, this year I was bound and determined to get Sean on a big buck as he come in to hunt. And I'd been doing some summer scouting, got some great velvet footage of this deer, and you know, this was just a really classic whitetail. I mean, it was trashy, it's got big beams, and I just knew that this deer would really tickle Sean if he could kill him.
There's an oak flat, so hopefully this deer are coming from that oak flat out into this bench and that you'll see in front of me in a few minutes, and then working their way past me. There's several good bucks in here. Who knows what we'll see? We just don't know. So on the second day, let's see if we can make it happen. Let me take my Hoyt and get on with it. I'm gonna try to be really quiet, not do too much talking. So it should be a nice evening. The shade on this corner of the field really helps. Sometimes it gets a deer out moving. They like to come to shady sides of the field. When it's hot like this, it's 75 degrees out, I'm swatting mosquitoes. So we're just set up. I'm gonna hang tight now. Not do any more interviews. Just did our first cutaway about getting in here.
So why does Whitetail Edge use Black Widow deer lures? It's 100% pure whitetail deer urines. It's never brown or broken down. Black Widow deer lures are always fresh, collected and bottled within 24 hours of collection to guarantee freshness. So why should you use Black Widow deer lures? Because it works. Visit www.blackwidowdeerlures.com.
So, you know, the first night Sean hunts, we don't have the right wind to hunt this big deer on this soybean field. So Sean and Wyatt go to another farm and they hunt another big deer that possibly might show up, but that deer never did show up. But they, you know, they grounded out. They had a great encounter with some deer, and you know, the next night we got the right wind, and we slide Sean into the soybean field, and he's tucked it up in a, you know, in a tree stand. He's all by himself. He's self-filming, and that's a hard deal, you know. And so this hunt is kind of short and sweet.
That was awesome. That deer just blew my mind coming in. It took him forever. He's a good buck. I don't know where I hit him. I mean, I hit him up front, but I just can't tell. So I saw him go over the hill, but I did not see him go into the woods. So I'm not sure. Of course, he came from the opposite way of every other deer, but man, that deer just blew my mind trying to wait for him and wait for him and wait for him and wait for him. So he's a good buck.
He actually laced this deer open. I mean, cut a hole in this deer like I could not believe. And this deer didn't go 125 yards. Here's this big giant whitetail edge buck. Sean is a good friend of mine. He's from North Carolina, and he comes up and hunts with me every year through the outfitting. And so I decided, you know what? Now that I've started this web show, might as well try to film some of these big deer that we're on for the outfitting business and put them on whitetail edge. And there's a great story behind this buck. We had him last year and let him live, and this year we decided if somebody got a shot at him, we'd take him out. He's a 4.5-year-old deer. We could have let him live to be 5.5, but you know, Sean is so happy with this buck that that's really what it's all about. I mean, it's you know, I was so ecstatic. I mean, to see Sean so happy, you know, with this buck, I mean, it literally almost choked me up a bit, because, you know, when you have a buddy like Sean and you can share a moment such as this with a guy like Sean and how appreciative he is of it, and, you know, he just needed to get this monkey off his back. He hadn't killed a really good deer for a few years, and lo and behold, all we were doing was just setting the stage for Sean's season. He ended up later in the year, which he didn't get it on film, but he ended up killing 100, and I think it was almost 190, maybe even was a 190-inch buck. I think it was in the 190s in Iowa. All by himself, new farm, he never hunted in his life, scouted it and kills a massive 190-inch deer. And you see the picture, but just, you know, great season for Sean. Was glad to have him on the show, and we hope to again sometime.
Whitetail Edge is brought to you by Black Widow Deer Lures, Hoyt, Rocky, Hawk Tree Stands, Rogue Bowstrings, Redneck Hunting Blinds, Rage Broadheads, True Fire Releases, Ohio Food Plot Services, HHA Sports, Antler King, HD200 Ionic Mineral, Upwind Odor Elimination, Big Time, Black Eagle Arrows, Bronc Box, Exodus Trail Cameras, Wicked Ridge Outfitters, Connect Systems, and by Woodbury Outfitters.